So I think I have 30 minutes here in total. So what I was asked by Sarah to present is a little bit a high-level overview of our advisory and data offering. And then, as I understood, we will follow my presentation by the different practice leaders, and they will go into more substance in detail on their practice leads and on the detailed offering for supply chains, for CROV and for QUOG. And on the renewable energy advisory part, we will do that at a later point. So what I'm supposed to do today is give you a high-level overview of how I see our current advisory and data offering, focusing on the corporate side. Plus, I also thought it would be good to give you a little bit an update on what are actually our goals in advisory and data and our underlying strategy behind it, and also how these goals align with a Q1 update of 2018. So we just did finalize our budgeting and cost review for the Q1. So we updated as well a little bit on the goals and the targets, and just to show you a little bit what's going on there behind the scenes, because I think you usually don't see this, and this is a little bit management stuff, but maybe interesting to know for you. So that's my plan. I have a lot of slides. I will not go through everything in detail, but I thought they're still useful so that you see what's also going on in the strategy process and management process about these things behind everything. But let's get to our offering. So our marketing team right now is updating our website and always works on our corporate presentation. I think in general, we kind of all agree that we provide services according to 4 solutions. Advisory and data is one of those. The others are our credits and certificates on carbon and renewables. We have our green fund business, and we shouldn't forget and also should mention to all our clients, we also do climate or carbon reduction projects, renewable energy projects, SDG projects. And I think that's a very important element which sometimes gets lost, but it's important because it links to our advisory and data services, especially on insetting, but also on the renewable energy side. So continuing this, looking only at advisory and data, I usually say we, under advisory and data, we now have merged the public advisory and the corporate advisory things, and we now provide services according to these bullet points, according to climate change and risks and opportunities. We do provide services on sustainable land use, forests and water, renewable energies, energy efficiency, climate policies, green finance and green economy, sustainable cities, and then we also have a South Pole digital lab. I will get to it later, what that exactly is, but just in general, as you see, so how I try to phrase our services is really related to kind of topic areas, so that it's most applicable to the clients, or they basically understand where it's going to. And this is not really in complete consistent line with our internal structure on the practice lines. But that's how it is, right? So there is a difference of how we externally communicate and how we internally structured. And also just our shortcuts on QUOG and QUOV. I think this is nothing we should mention externally. I think this is just for us internally, how we organized and how we work. But basically, I think it's worth to communicate. We do climate change risks and opportunities, and this we do for various type of clients, either in the financial sector or in the corporate sector or in other sectors. So just that's my point of view, and I think marketing is also trying to implement that this way. Getting one more closer look on advisory and data, so going now into the corporate solutions of advisory and data, this is what I would usually present to clients, that we basically provide services to corporates in 5 different areas. And the areas are pretty similar to the ones which I mentioned before. So I would usually introduce global renewable energy and energy efficiency. I would say we provide climate risks, opportunity, and strategy advisory services. We also go into sustainability impact assessment, performance and reporting. And we do land use, forests and water. And we do investments in climate change. And this is a little bit closer to our practice lines. However, as you see, I mean, climate risks, opportunities, and strategies that cover several practice lines, and also sustainability impact, performance, and reporting that could be in CROF as well as in QUARK. So basically, renewable energy, one practice line, pretty straightforward. Sustainable land use, forest and water, one practice line, pretty straightforward. It's our supply chains. Investments in climate change, yeah, but there's also the risks and opportunities part. But I feel for us, it might be a little bit confusing, external versus internal, but I think just thinking of a client perspective, this is actually a pretty straightforward and clear way to explain our offering. What I then usually would do when I present this externally is I go to every of these 5 topics and in one more detailed level. And we have implemented that in our corporate presentation and present one slide per each of this topic area, just to show at a high level what we're doing. This would be the one on renewable energy and energy efficiency. I'm not going through it in detail, but just for you to know, I mean, we're phrasing our offering right now. We're trying to find a practice lead, and we're really trying to build this practice. And what our current decision is, we really don't know where the market is yet. So we also don't want to fix our position completely yet. We see a lot of requests from corporates on renewable energy strategies because they have RE commitments, mostly under RE 100, and they don't know what they want. They only know we have a commitment, we need to get there, can you help us? And we see that the RFPs we get right now are really confusing. The companies are inconsistent. They withdraw the RFPs and reissue them again. They constantly change. So we are more on the reactive side than really on the proactive side in this service area right now. And therefore, we try to offer everything. So we try to offer either on-site solutions, and we would do due diligence of on-site projects, trying to find out if corporates can do on-site things. We would do, of course, the delivery of racks. We would do a strategy around it. We would do the project development if they really decide they do something on-site or even off-site. And we would say we also do the PPAs if they need to. So we basically right now say we do everything. And then we wait what they see and or what they say. We wait what they want to know in detail. And then if we can't offer it ourselves, we would go with a partner. And we have a couple of collaboration partners at hand already, and that strategy seems to work pretty well for now. On climate risks, opportunity and strategy solutions, I don't really want to go into detail because, as I said before, Charles will come and introduce the QUARK services. Hannah will come and hopefully introduce the QROF services. I think Tilman will come and introduce the supply chain services. So this is just a high-level overview, but you will get more details later. The same on the sustainability impact measurement reporting solutions. This is a little bit part of QROF and QUARK, and you will get into details with the other practice leaders. Same as land use, forest and water solutions. On investments and climate change, just because a lot of questions always come, so what are you actually offering and working on? And it's pretty clear that we focus on I think 3 main topics, which is really physical risk assessment. We're trying to get a hand on there and develop a model and product, and it's in beta version or testing version right now. We really focus on TCFD and the 2-degree alignment and try to analyze portfolios on those questions. And we focus on SDG or general sustainability impact assessment, let it be SDGs or let it even be avoided emissions. So these are kind of the things we focus on, but Hannah will come with more details. This is really on how I externally kind of try to present our offering at a high level. And then depending on what clients really want and what their focus is, we would go into more detailed details according to which practice line they're interested in. This moved me a little bit to our more strategic internal thinking. So what is actually our vision and where do we want to go with advisory and data? And how do we actually decide what kind of things we want to offer and what we don't want to offer? And here I try to usually base this on our South Pole vision. And the vision is, I hope you all know it, is to be a leading provider of advisory and data services. And South Pole wants to be the #1, stop shop for sustainability advisory and risk management tools. I think that has been defined by Renat, kind of. So what does this really mean? For me, this is a twofold strategy. It means, A, we want to be a really holistic service provider. We want to show that we can do sustainability in a broad scale, and we want to create solutions which really make a difference. On the other hand, we also want to be seen as a specialist. And of course, we are in climate change, but that also requires that we kind of develop a really specific offering around this, because sustainability is so broad. So it's might sound inconsistent, but on the other hand, it's it's just two pathways for me and two things to work with, and I try to develop an implementation idea. How do we get there and serve both goals or visions? And for the holistic service provider, this for me means, okay, we kind of have sometimes this reactive mode where we just see where the market moves, see what the clients want, and we answer to those requests. And that by that we ensure that we answer kind of all the questions we want to position ourselves towards to. And then on the second one, I think that is more requiring a proactive implementation strategy where we define, okay, and then besides being the holistic service provider, we really also want to have a specialized focus. And this we do within our practice lines. And then we already have defined 4 focus areas. And within those 4 practice lines, we define our tools, products, services, data sets, and we utilize R&D in order to leverage those. But that kind of gives us the possibility to do both, to be a holistic provider, but also a specialist at the same time. I need to breathe. Sorry, this is really fast. I don't know, I don't see anyone, so maybe I'm just stopping. And does someone have a question?
Yeah, I have a question. Charlie speaking. So just to know, at the moment,
there is a big echo. I don't know who it is. Try again. Sorry.
I think you have to mute. No, that's all good now.
So on the 2021 plan, where do we stand exactly at the moment? My feeling is that we're like almost 100% holistic, and we're trying to get standardized. And where do we stand at the moment on getting more standardized?
Good question. I think I have a couple of slides on that in a minute. So just at a high level, where do we stand on the overall vision and holistic service provider versus more the specialist? I think we actually not doing that bad. I think we kind of trying to do both, but I think from a market reputational point of view, we are more seen as the specialist. Because people know, oh, South Pole, they do carbon and climate change. And most of the clients do not really know what else we do, like that we are so active in supply chains, that we are active in the financial market. I mean, some do, but there I feel we actually fulfilling that specific offering specialist side pretty well. And this is maybe also coming from the past and our history in the market positioning. And then, yes, we trying to be a little bit more holistic, but we're not covering everything in sustainability advisory, right? So we're trying to focus it down with help of our practice lines. And I actually think we're doing a pretty good job in and trying to avoid to not go out of bounds. For example, we're not moving into social sustainability. We are not moving into, I mean, areas, really focused areas, let's say, on waste management or circular economy. I think we're only touching this if it's needed. So I think we're fulfilling, I think we're fulfilling it not too bad. But I mean, I'm also happy to discuss this and hear your opinions. But I guess today we don't really have time for it. But does this answer a little bit? And then on the standardized and non-standardized things, I'm coming there in a minute.
Thanks, Franziska. Thanks.
Okay, so I'll keep going.
Yeah.
Because it was a good starting point. So with this twofold strategy of being a holistic provider, but also be a specialized provider, this is exactly what I thought should be then our answer. So for the holistic picture, I think this really is more meaning that we do bespoke advisory on any topic which comes in. And we have, of course, a couple of specialized products, but we can also really, answer and revise our offering and be open for new topics in sustainability. And I think we need to. On the second part of the strategy and really being specific and design our products and be a specialist there, it really plays a role that we do also standardized products and that we define a little bit what is our toolbox and what do we want to offer. So talking about standardized and non-standardized products within our advisory and data strategy, I've been trying to show a little bit for the standardized products, what are market needs, what are product key features, and what are business goals. And basically, the main idea is we really, for each practice line, want to standardize or want to develop some standardized product. And I think we're almost there. Those products should be, easy for us to provide to clients. They should be more or less something like copy-paste. They could be tool sets. They could be data. They could be just an approach, and then we do it again and again. And the key features would be that these products relate to some data sets, and the outcomes or deliverables are pretty standardized. They look the same, and then we could just change a little and apply it to several clients at the same time. The advantage of this and the business goal for this is we sell those standardized products at lower margins. They would have to cover costs, of course, sometimes, and that is a real business decision. They could generate some profit, but sometimes they also just only seen as a door opener. So they might not even generate a profit. They might not even generate cover costs, but we see it as an entry to sell other services. For example, a good example is always carbon footprint. We might offer it for free if we know we sell the offsets afterwards. And if the offset is a great business, then this is a good deal. Other standardized products, in the old days, we had our carbon footprint for investments. That one we didn't offer for free. We offered for a low price to be competitive, but also we were always hoping this opens the door for more advisory. So that's really the main idea of the standardized product, and we try to develop this at least one standardized product for each practice line. And on the non-standardized side, this is really more the bespoke things where we try to be really client specific, and we get various client requests and we answer with a solution which might only be the one fit thing for the client. Of course, we always try to leverage synergies, but the focus on non-standardized products is really do consulting and advisory and round and grow our business in terms of opening new topics and also gain in competence and experience. The business goal is of these products can be also differing depending on what stage of the product we are in. So is this a pure development of a new thing and we think more is coming, or if this is something we have been doing or working on kind of, not in a standardized way, but topic-wise, and we feel really comfortable with, then we probably ask for more money and want to have a proper profit margin. So generally, we gain the best profits in these more bespoke advisory things on the corporate side. So that should also be our goal here. And then we also have another product group which is tools and data. It's kind of linked to the more standardized thing. But I think Renat is really keen in positioning ourselves here a little bit better, that South Pole is an efficient tool and data provider. We can basically really quickly develop great IT tools, and we should better leverage that and sell that to the market. And I mean, examples are the big chain tool. In Quoff, now we're developing the physical risk tool. And there it's always, we can of course make it to a standardized product of pure data, but we could also in theory think about selling the tool. So those products we have as well, and we're trying to always push this as well. So this is really on the product side. And then to conclude this, so we have targets and we have goals in advisory and data, and these ones are the ones which have been set at the end of 2017. So these are the goals for 2018, and you see on the left-hand side, we have an overall kind of advisory and data unit goal, which is 10% growth of total gross margin compared to last year. And then we have sub-goals for the separate practice lines. These goals are, we try to develop KPIs, as you see on the right-hand side. They are very vague. I haven't been personally included in the goal definition. That's maybe why they are so vague. But this is a little bit what we're working against this year. So mainly it says in renewable energy and advisory, we want to gain 5 clients. In physical climate risk assessment, our main goal is that we ensure we get our physical risk tool ready, we get 5 clients, and we provide some other advisory services around it with high quality and position ourselves in the market. And then on the supply chain, the goal is also pretty high level, double the amount of clients, doesn't really say anything. So that's why when I got these goals in the beginning of the year, I tried to, for each goal, go into a more detailed strategy and define sub-goals. And I will just show you on this, on the first goal, how I tried to do this and agreed upon with it and with Renat. So on the 10% growth goal, we said, okay, in order to get there, what we want to do is develop efficiencies in the processes and implementation of our mandates that always pushes us to better a better cost efficiency and hopefully to growth. We want to focus our offering and really want to make sure that we are specialized in some things and keep to our practice line focus areas and do not go too broad, but still be a little bit holistic. So not losing in the trends and the good opportunities. We want to utilize resources to the best value for South Pole, which means sometimes we have to allocate people on projects which maybe are not their most favorite, but we try to usually allocate resources to the best skill set. So whatever we need, that we get the best people on it. We try to develop a consistent external story so that marketing and our communication does know what we really do and can communicate this well as our COM team. And then, as I mentioned before, we really want to position us as a data and a tool provider. However, our Q1 budget now has shown us that probably the 10% growth goal is a little bit too ambitious. And you see in the box above, it says, in spite of having sold CNI, and we need to keep that in mind. Last year, we really sold a whole practice, and we're rebuilding this practice. And beside that, we also kind of rebuilding the renewable energy practice. So realizing this now after Q1 made us adjust the goals so that we said, okay, we actually don't expect any growth. It's fair enough, knowing that we're rebuilding so much of our business and trying to redevelop products and so on. It's enough if we reach kind of the same gross margin as last year. So that's kind of showing you a little bit how we try to work with our goals and our strategy. It's not super detailed. So, I mean, you could always formulate more KPIs, and we actually have done this for all goals. So for supply chain, for corporate renewable energy services, and for the other practices. I think when the practice leaders will talk about this, I think they should go into this as well, and for their relevant practice, say what are the overall goals and how are they doing? Because I think here we're running out of time, and I think I just want to open it for questions now. Yeah, let me know.
Thanks a lot, Franziska. Any questions in Mexico? Emric?
Yeah, hi Franziska, Emric speaking. I had a question on the part about tools and data.
Yeah.
I know data was one of the questions of whether South Pole should develop its own database or whether it should just aggregate existing data from other sources. Where are we standing now? How do we want to go about this? Because we say tools and data, does South Pole want to be a data provider?
And do you refer to the physical risk or in general?
Physical, well, I have physical risk in mind, but more in general also.
Sure. So let me first answer with regard to the physical risk, and then I'll do a general comment at the end. So I think on the physical risk, we are at this stage that we have the kind of framework of the model. So we know what we're doing, and we can do test portfolios already. But we need some underlying data, and some of the underlying data comes from public sources. So we will use that, and we always try to use as much public sources as we can. And then that means consequently, we're using other data sets, and we recalculate, reformulate, and work with those data sets, right? And that is always our first goal. However, sometimes there are limits in this, right? Not everything is available publicly. So there the question then is, do we know someone who sells that data and we want to purchase through Bloomberg or through other, vehicles? Or do we actually want to, have our 3 researchers and develop the data ourselves? And there, I think it's a case-by-case decision. Always depends on how much we would have to pay for the data, and do we think we could maybe just do it ourselves. So far on the physical risk tool, I think we decided now that we're not going in a lot of data research ourselves. So we will try to get some Bloomberg data or an alternative source. We're looking at other providers who claim to be better than Bloomberg. So I think we will at the end maybe purchase a data set. And then are we a data provider? On the physical risk tool, at the end, we of course have that tool, and we will provide data based on a certain portfolio, right? So if an investor wants a portfolio assessment, at the end they will get data points. How do we structure the business model? Are we selling the data plus advisory? Are we only selling pure data points? And they get APIs and they can just download the data? We don't know yet. Usually how we see it is we see the data is a need in order to get more advisory work. So it's hard to not provide data. So that's why we basically see us as a data provider in certain things. But we're not providing the pure underlying data. We always provide kind of the score or the risk data, so the recalculated data, right? And in general, I think that this answer counts in general. Like every time we want to decide, hey, is there some data points where we think they really are useful to know for our clients? We could provide those, and it would open us the door for more advisory. I think we would, and assuming it's in our core focus area, I think we would go for it. And then, yes, we kind of become a data provider, but always having in mind we want to do advisory around it as well. So we don't want to be seen as a pure data provider. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions? Miguel?
Okay, Francisca, I was wondering on your slide on the renewable energy services, you were also mentioning, I think there was something about feasibility.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, are we speaking about technical feasibility of the technology for our clients, or what is it?
I know, Miguel, you're into this. Good question. No, I think what we seeing in requests is sometimes the corporate clients say, hey, we really want to do, we want to do an on-site project on our manufacturing site in country X, right? And we want to do a solar project. Can you help us with that? And then we would say, yes, we would do a feasibility, a technical feasibility of your site and the conditions if this is really, feasible, technically as well as economically. We say we do that. We're not really doing this, with South Pole staff then, but we would probably find a local partner and we would manage the whole thing. So I don't believe that we will ever really say this is a core product we want to offer with help of South Pole employees. Maybe if we see a real big demand in it, but so far it's just not as big of that we want to build completely new service, but we're saying we do, and then we would just manage with a local engineering company or something.
Okay, and also, well, a second question will be, what expertise do we have on PPA facilitation?
Yeah, so I think right now in South Pole, nobody really has a lot of competence on PPAs. However, we are hiring a practice lead who will. We made an offer to a person, so hopefully he will agree, and he has a lot of PPA experience. However, it's not really corporate PPAs because hardly anyone has done it, but it's PPAs with utilities, which helps a lot. South Pole itself has a lot of experience in reviewing PPAs when we do our renewable energy projects, right? But it's not really creating and legally designing the PPA, but we have reviewed, so that we usually mention to clients. So we have at least reviewed and worked with 100 PPAs. Just to, shine a little bit on our references. But as I said, we have some collaboration partners, and we have a memorandum of understanding with a company, a small startup in the UK. They only focus on PPA facilitation. They are called Almach. I can, send you information if you want to. And they would, in case someone wants a really, a concrete advisory on PPA and structuring a PPA, we would work with them.
Okay, thank you.
Christina has a question.
You said with regards to the SDGs or in general sustainability, we will always try to stay within the environmental field. But then looking at the SDGs, companies are asking about it, and that is basically always includes also the social part.
Yeah.
So how can we have an offering in any way regarding the SDGs if we don't either by our partner or ourselves have knowledge or expertise on the social part of sustainability?
No, I agree to you, and maybe that was phrased a little bit too direct. I agree on the SDGs. There is social elements, and if people ask us, do you do a social return on investment analysis? We would probably say yes, and there is some social components, and we could do that. But what I meant and what I have in mind by saying we would not focus on social, environmental, social sustainability is, we will not become the expert in human rights. Let's say that, right? Or right now we have PMI is one of our biggest clients. There, beside environmental issues, their struggle is child labor. and we will not get into that. If we have a client, if they really would say, hey, can you help us with this? We probably would find a collaboration partner, or we would find a subcontractor who has experience in that. But I don't think we will ever build this expertise in-house. Another example where we might link a little bit to social things is also ESG on the investment side. We also will not, directly say we focus ever on social and governance in this, but we will, from time to time, in some mandates, probably touch up on it.
Okay, thanks. Any other questions in Mexico? No? Tiana, Pablo, and Mariano?
Yeah, I have a question, Francisca. In terms of selling tools, do we have like some sort of guidelines, or are we going to have a strategy on how to sell our tools that we develop, or is it going to be kind of like a case-by-case decision?
I think it's the latter, the case by case. I mean, the best example where did we do it was CNI last year. But I wouldn't say this is the way to do it again. You never know, right? Sometimes it might also be we never sell the tool, but we just sell the licenses. Mm-hmm. Maybe we found a sub company or something under South Pole, which is managing the tool and using it only. That could be a business model. We could also just sell it at a fixed price without selling people. So a different thing than CNI. So it would be really, case by case. What we currently do and what we see people are attracted to is in the renewable energy space. We are trying to position Antarctica as our kind of internal project management software, where we, manage our own carbon and renewable energy projects. And a lot of clients are, for example, interested in seeing Antarctica and maybe exploring how they could use that software. And there's different solutions with it. The other example is web shops, right, where we just, kind of develop tools for others or online calculators, and that's maybe more straightforward, and we just provide the tool and the service at a one-time price and then done. So it always depends.
Okay, many thanks.
Emmerich has another question.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I don't know if I missed the part on the South Pole digital platform.
Oh yeah, you're right.
It sounds really cool. I wanted to know what it is.
I wanted to show you that one. That's you still see my screen, right?
Yes.
Digital. I mean, you can also check it out. We have a website. So in order to position us on this, tools and data sets and so on, we building this website. It's not yet done, but what we want to do is present all our tools here. Right now, they just listed here. You can check it out after this meeting. All our tools and what we have been developing in terms of IT and innovations, and also the clean coin thing, and so is listed here. And we currently now, try to redo this website so that it will have icons on the different kind of type of tools, and people can click on it and then say software solutions and project monitoring solutions and innovative data apps, and that's how we want to present it, to make it a little bit more, to show a little bit more our data capabilities. That's just what I wanted to show you, and I know not a lot of people are aware of this, but it's under development. That's what I wanted to say and mention.
Nice one. I think we don't have any more questions. So thanks a lot, Francisca. That was really helpful. Now we look forward to hearing the practice leads on their individual practices.
Awesome. Sounds good. Cool.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone. So I'm hanging up.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Francisca. One last one.